Namaskar, dear devotees and friends. This Wednesday evening, we'll be reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the Panchama Veda. As usual, let us chant from this mantra. Tabo kathamritam tapta jivanam kabi vidiritam kalma shapaham sravana mangalam srimadatatam bhubi grinanti e bhurida janaha. Now, the last Wednesday, we have learned how to pray to God from Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. That was the unique way Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna was teaching. But we have learned the only one who can pray who has reduced his ego. A devotee must pray, but one must be humble. Then only one can pray properly. So we always talk about the prayer. A prayer is a very strong, we can say, instrument in the spiritual life to reach to God, to get His blessings, to invoke His blessings. But who can truly pray? Who has completely taken refuge when there is nothing else for him, then only go and the burden. We quoted from the Bhagavad Gita how Arjuna, he was saying that let us, O God, I take refuge in you. I am your humble the disciple. Shishyasteham shadimam tam prapannam. And from other scriptures also we quoted the how one should be very humble to pray. Now, Uddhava Gita also, everyone was praying to the Supreme God that we are very humble, please help us. That prayer means, the Sri Ramakrishna is, we learned that teaching, one must be very, very humble and dedicated and completely depending on the grace of God. Then the prayer is answered. So that we learned last time. And when one can become like that, when one's ego has gone. It is the ego only that always makes us, creates this problem. So this ego, when the ego has completely eradicated, ego has gone, one has started feeling that he is nobody, particularly the association with this body and mind, that makes us feel that I am. So that goes away, and he feels that God is residing within, and God is only guiding. Whatever I am doing, whatever I am saying, it is because of the God. That is a wonderful way he can feel, and that person's prayers are always answered. Now today we will read when Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is visiting Girish Chandra Ghosh's house. But just before that, tomorrow is the great Thanksgiving. So from those who are in America and all my American devotees and friends, I wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. This is an unique way, to remember those who have helped us. The word itself, the celebration itself reminds us that we should always remember them, be thankful to them, and that is one of the characteristics of the human being. Remembering all the help that we receive from the people and then thanking them from the bottom of the heart that as because of you we are here today. So usually we should thank the Supreme God, we should thank our ancestors, we should thank the neighbors and the friends and each and every one. So though the Thanksgiving particular that was differently, they felt that the celebration began in America in a different way, but we can accept it in a different way, that we are thanking each and every one. But anyway, the happy Thanksgiving. So let us begin when Sri Ramakrishna is visiting Girish Ghosh's house. As you know that I am reading from Swami Nikhilananda ji's translation, The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the page 732. Girish stood at the door to welcome the master. The last week we read, the Girish came to attend one of the programs, the Sri Ramakrishna was the meeting the devotees. Girish was also there. Then he requested the master, can you please come to visit my house? It was nearby, but it was the evening, 9 o'clock at that time. But still, Sri Ramakrishna agreed, because he used to like Girish Chandra Ghosh, and Girish's devotion was uncomparable. The Girish stood at the door to welcome the master. As Sri Ramakrishna entered the house, Girish fell at his feet and lay there on the floor like a rod. So this shows the complete dedication. Girish was, as many of us we know, he was having tremendous ego. And that person has completely transformed. He has become so humble. Before everyone, Girish Chandra Ghosh lying down on his face and bowing down to Sri Ramakrishna. Can you imagine? That shows the ego has gone and the blessings of God is on him. The Sri Ramakrishna, like the Rama, like the Krishna, he is also establishing the Dharma. But this time, unlike Sri Rama, unlike Sri Krishna, he is not killing anyone, punishing anyone. So it is only the Sri Ramakrishna who is not having any weapon in his hand. We see the bow and arrow in the hand of Sri Ramachandra. We see that the disc in the Krishna is because that is the Vishnu, and Krishna also fought in different battles with different other people. And particularly when he was young, through the wrestling also, he killed the people, the bad people. But Sri Ramakrishna, the same in God's incarnation, this time he is not having any weapon. What is his weapon? Girish Ghosh told. This time his weapon is humbleness. Eradicate the ego and you become God. That is a unique way. The God realization, we are going on reading books, and many people, they are going on writing the philosophy. The millions of books are there on religion, on mind, on so many things are there. And almost every day, few thousand, few million people will be discussing like me. They're all about the religion. And what is religion? Only to remove the ego, and what remain is God and nothing else. So Sri Ramakrishna, this time in the modern age, he has come, the God himself has come, and now he is establishing a religion by teaching humbleness. It's not that one should completely forget about oneself and think that I am nobody. No, nothing like that. That is the highest spiritual condition. But in general, what we should think, I can also do. That is the self-confidence. The Swami Vivekananda, why I am telling this, because sometimes we make the mistake by self-confidence and the ego, we mix up. The ego, they say boastfully, I only can do and no one else. And if they find that somebody else can do, they will try to stop him, if necessary, to kill. That is the ego. But the self-confident person always say, oh, they can do, I too can do. So Swami Vivekananda is always encouraging us to become self-confident. That is his Vedanta, self-confident. I can also do. And as a support, he says that truly you are that supreme being, the God. Now we will go through the lines and we will see how Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us that thing. Sri Ramakrishna entered, Girish Ghosh was lying down like that, and at the master's bidding he stood up, touching the master's feet with his forehead. Sri Ramakrishna was taken to the drawing room on the second floor. The devotees followed him and sat down, eager to get a view of the master and listen to every word that fell from his lips. So this is very, very important. When we go to a holy person, we should talk to him about the spirituality. Of course, Sri Ramakrishna never spoke anything except the spirituality. But most of the time when the people, they come to visit us, they like to talk about other things. So we also pick up that and we also talk like that. But try to bring the spirituality, try to bring the religion, the morality. But still sometimes just to have the conversation with them, we also talk as they like us to talk. But one should be careful when one is visiting the spiritual person, should take the benefit of his company. The Sri Ramakrishna, he went there and people were eagerly waiting what he will. These people, all this group, they were all the time listening in the afternoon in somebody else's house, very close to Girish Ghosh's house. And then from there, again they are following Sri Ramakrishna. And this is also shows the social, the culture in India. If you are going to listen to a spiritual person, you need not to bother about the invitation of that particular the householder. Now, I like to go and listen to a holy man that visiting your house. I will surely go and humbly say, can I go inside and listen to him? And they will be happy also. Please come. Maybe they are completely unknown. There's sometimes in some of the places, some advanced countries, that you have to take the information first. You have to write to them. They will agree. Then the time will be fixed. Then only you can go. Unless you are invited, you are not supposed to come. It is nothing like that. Again, these are all goes for the ego. And here, I am humble. I am free from that ego. And I am going to listen to someone who is going to speak over there. And I don't care. I am not expecting anything else from you. You need not to do any hospitality. The hospitality over there, I am just going to sit at the feet of the holy person to listen. This is also shows a different type of culture. So when we are reading here, it gives the picture of that culture too. A group of people who assemble in somebody's house, that is in Bagbazar area in Calcutta, and Balaram Bose's house, and from there, just a few blocks away, they went to Girish Ghosh and followed, and they sat. Sri Ramakrishna was about to take the seat reserved for him. He saw a newspaper lying near it. Sri Ramakrishna never liked the newspapers because the paper contained worldly matters, mostly gossip and scandals, so he used to avoid that. Then one devotee came. His name is Nityagopal. Nityagopal came forward and bowed low before the master. Master, well, you haven't been to Dakshineshwar for a long time. Nityagopal, true sir, I haven't been able to go there. I haven't been well. I have had pains all over my body. Master, how are you now? Nityagopal, now not so well, sir. Master, bring your mind down 1 or 2 notes. Now, sometime when we are practicing spirituality and our body and mind is not ready for that, but we try forcefully to meditate constantly for 5, 6 hours, naturally the effect comes on the body and the mind. The best way at that time to lower down the mind a little. Maybe you just read some books or go to some friends where you can discuss about the spirituality and listen to the divine songs. And by that way, you have to bring down your mind a little. Give the time. Again you practice. So this is very, one should be very careful about it. So that is the way that gurus, they teach. There's sometimes some people will go on encouraging, oh, it is good, you please go on meditating and concentrate your mind on the top of your head, and that is dangerous. Or sometimes they will say, you should concentrate your mind in between the two eyebrows. It is dangerous. They do not know, they are not proper guru, they are not understanding what type of harm they are going to do by that way. So this is, you are withdrawing the mind from the sense organs, or withdrawing from the sense objects. When you are detaching the sense organs from the sense objects, you are going against the nature. So obviously there will be a reaction that by nature our sense organs, this eye, the nose, the ear, the tongue, they go out to enjoy the sense objects. They are like that. Now the spirituality means you have to withdraw them and then slowly tame them. They should come down, and then only you can concentrate. This one young person came. He is helping to recover from those who are become sometimes in the narcotics, and sometimes they are very much into that. So he is trying to help them. He was telling, it is like taming a wild horse. You cannot simply go on sit on the back of the horse. You have to, there are so many processes. You have to give the time, and slowly, with a lot of patience, you can tame that wild horse. And think about our mind, the wildest thing. So obviously, it likes to go and see, like to listen, like to taste, like to touch. So many things constantly it is going on, and you have to control them. The master Sri Ramakrishna, Nitya Gopal, was trying hard to concentrate his mind. He was a great soul, and Sri Ramakrishna appreciated him. But at the same time, when he said, my body is paining, the Sri Ramakrishna told, tone it down, bring it 1 or 2 steps. This is very practical hints for the spiritual life. Swami Vivekananda, he also said that there are 3 levels: physical level, intellectual level, and spiritual level. If we try to be in the spiritual level all the time, it's so hard, so difficult. Because you have to completely forgive everything, forget everything, detach everything of these worldly things. It's very difficult. It's not for all. Then you better bring down to the spirit, from the spiritual level to the intellectual level. Then you go and talk with some people, friendly people. They'll be also discussing about spirituality. Read some holy books. Listen to as I was suggesting, the bhajans, that very good songs, or the instrumental musics that calm down your mind. And yourself also try to compose some poems like that, bring down your mind. Again you try to. So this is a wonderful routine we should make. In our spiritual life, in the beginning itself, they give us the routine. You get up in the morning like this, and then go to the shrine. Then afterwards, chanting to the God some of the mantras. Then you finish your breakfast and go do some work for the asrama. So that then again you sit with a book and read. Like that, the 24 hours it will be a routine. Every day the same thing, and same thing. Sometimes some young people, they come to become a monastic. Then after a few months and few years, they become restless. They say, oh, the same thing we are doing every day. That is the thing. Because you are taming your mind, wild mind. And the mind goes out, even before death also, people's mind goes to the objects, worldly objects. It's so difficult. So taming the mind, purifying the mind, that means you have to withdraw the mind from. And you are living in this world. You cannot simply go in a secluded place and sit over there without food, without anything, and die over there. Not like that. It is nothing like a suicide. It is living in the society, mixing with the people, going to for shopping. Everything is there, but detaching. So this is the training. Just with small 1-2 words, Sri Ramakrishna hinting to that, and he is telling to Nitya Gopal that you better bring down your mind. Bring your mind down 1 or 2 notes. Nitya Gopal, I don't like people's company. They say all kinds of things about me that sometimes frighten me, but again I feel great strength within. He is disclosing it to his guru and the master. That's only natural. Who lives with you? He is asking, who lives with you? Tarak, he mentioned. Tarak means, afterwards in the book itself they have given the note, Tarak, he is also a direct disciple of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and afterwards he became a sannyasi and very famous Swami Shivananda. There are other Shivanandas are also there. In the Jogi, Shivananda is also there. He is also very famous. But this Swami Shivananda belongs to the Ramakrishna mission. He was the direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and he became the president of the Ramakrishna Math also. So this is Shivananda. His name was Tarak. His father was a great tantric. So he could worship keeping the fire on his hand like that, his father, and still that particular place is there where he used to worship. So he had that occult power, spiritual power, and Sri Ramakrishna knew this Tarak's father. He has appreciated. So this Tarak, he mentioned Tarak. He is always with me. Then he said, but sometimes he too gets on my nerves. So see, when one is living together, this is really, really difficult. In the monastic life, where many other monks are there, people are there, you are living with them, adjusting with them constantly, that is the great sadhana. But in the beginning of the spiritual life, when one is really trying very hard, so he feel that no one should be around, I should be alone. But when he is trying to, then he is advanced in that way, we are telling beginning. But he has already developed that capacity to live alone. It is not so easy. When you are living alone without any company, there may be, most of the time, the chances are there that they develop a peculiar thoughts, and sometimes they self-hypnotized, that sometimes people, they will be hypnotizing themselves. They're thinking, oh, I saw the light over there, I heard that beautiful music. Whatever they read, they start imagining. That is another danger. So one should be very, very careful. I will quote some of the scriptures today supporting the loneliness. When you are practicing spirituality sincerely, genuinely, you should go to a lonely place all alone, or maybe with 1 or 2 friends who are very of the same type of mind. Not that you will go and gossip and chat and cook and eat and do some sort of a picnic, not like that. Very seriously you are going over there and making your own the time you are utilizing that, sometimes maybe, and the 24 hours, 1 or 2 hours you are spending in that company. They are just preparing some food or sitting together, reading together, that much. Here we find Shiva Samhita. It's a very famous book. The Lord Shiva is himself telling, Tajjate Tajjate Sangha Sarvatha Tajjate Brisham Annatha Na Labet Muktim Satyam Satyam Mayoditam. I am telling you the truth. I am telling you the truth. He is repeating. And in Sanskrit, in this type of slokas, when they repeat means it is 100% confirmed. I am telling you the truth. Telling you the truth. Satyam Satyam Mayoditam. Maya means I am telling you. What he is telling? Tajjate Tajjate Sangha. You have to shun the company. Shunning the company. Particularly those are constantly thinking about the worldly life, worldly thing, it is better to avoid them, shunning the company. Sarvatha tajjate brisham. Very seriously, you must avoid them, this company of the worldly people. They always talk like that, and they'll be criticizing people. There'll be all these type of things. They have their mind is all the time thinking about the worldly things. And if you are in that company, then it is really, really difficult. Life, general life, and it's okay. But when you are sincerely trying to develop the spiritual life, this is very important. That tajjate tajjate sangha sarvata tajjate brisham annatha na lavet muktim satyam satyam mayoditam. Then this is the Shiva said. Manu Samhita, the lawgiver, the Manu, he is also mentioning Eka eva charit nityam siddhartham asahaya asahayavan asahaya. I am not having any other support. Asahaya asahayavan eka eva charit nityam. Alone only you should roam siddhartham for your success in spiritual life. And asahaya. Why asahaya? And depending on God only. I am completely depending on God. The God without you, I don't have anyone to help me. So when you can completely depend on God and live completely alone, then only it is possible to develop the spiritual life, the realization. The Manu, he is telling. And Kularnap Tantra, that is also in a Tantra, the very famous book, Kularnap Tantra, it says, Nishanga eva mukta syat, dosha sarve hi shangaja, satam sango hi bhesharjam. Another sentence. Nishanga eva mukta syat. When you are completely detached from the worldly objects, worldly minded people, the Shanga means association. When there is no association of this thing, then only you are going to be successful. And the problem is with the company of these worldly minded people. Dosha sarvehi sangaja. Here sangha means the company of the worldly minded people will be constantly talking about the worldly things, and in the worldly things means associated with the ego, the name, fame, property, how to acquire this, how to acquire that. That is the problem. The one should be very, very. In the beginning we were reading, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna even never wanted to forget about reading, never touched that newspaper. Most of the newses will be, we don't know how far it will be true or not, and there are so many varieties of news. So they always, Sri Ramakrishna is to avoid that. Why? It will come on the mind, it will influence your mind. So one should be very careful. So this is the, but at the same time it says, Satam Sango hi Bheshajam. Satam Sangha, that means the company of the holy people. Sat means holy. The Satam means holy. The holy person's company, it acts like a medicine. The worldly objects are there, and that always attracts our mind, and we have to withdraw that. And sometimes some people forcefully try to do that, and by that way they create a tremendous the problem in the body and mind, and most of the time they lose their mental balances. So they should be very, very careful. All of us should be careful, and where we will go, unless and until you are detaching yourself from the worldly objects, there is no chance of success. This is in one side. Another side, if you are trying it forcefully in the wrong process, then you are going to lose your mind also. You will damage yourself, your intellect and all that. There will be great problem. Then what is the way out? It says, Satam Sangha hi Bheshajam. The Bheshaja means the medicine. What is that medicine? Company of a holy person. And only we are reading, that the Bhagavat. In the Bhagavat, the great the devotee, he is asking to Lord Krishna, you are also talking about the holy company, but how to understand, recognize a holy person? Nearly 30 the qualities the Lord Krishna is mentioning. If you find all these 30 qualities, then only you will know that he is a holy person. Not that all the 30 together in one person, a few of them even it is there, that means he is a holy person. So that is, we may discuss it in our next class. Here it says the Satam Sangha. But in one sentence we can say, who is a Satam, who is a Sadhu, who is a holy person? Who has no selfish motive. No selfish motive. Why? Because his own self is no more there. That ego is no more there. Whatever he is thinking and trying to do and leaving, everything for God. And God is nothing but love. So when he is loving God and he is feeling the other persons, other people are also the same, so let me go and tell them about that God, about that love, about that joy, about that happiness. So he goes on doing that type of thing. So by that way he is living his life, but he has no the selfish agenda. Oh, I will invite him, feed him, then in that against he will also support me, I will get that benefit. Nothing like that. The majority of the people in the politics, in the business, in the social life, they always do like that. It is necessary. But in spiritual life, who is a holy person? Who is full of love and unselfishness. Why? Because God is love and God is unselfish. God has no motive to do anything, just for love. So this is the way we have to understand. And when this gentleman, he was talking, Nitya Gopal, so Sri Ramakrishna was giving him this advice. Now, he is talking about the master. Nangta told me that there lived at his monastery an ascetic who had acquired occult powers. He used to go about with his eyes fixed on the sky, but when one of his companions left him, he became disconsolate. So look at it. Sri Ramakrishna is a great teacher. He is not directly telling, but indirectly giving the hint to the Nitya Gopal, then why you are practicing austerity? Only to develop some occult power? If it is so, then you are going to lose everything. Most of the people, they go for something like that, some occult power will be there, something, the magical thing will happen. So religion means that type of, and that's why some people, they consider a straight way that is a black magic. Nothing like that. Religion means love, and that love without any boundary, without any selfishness, just to help people. So that is Sri Ramakrishna giving a hint to Nityagopal by telling about the Nangta. Nangta means his own guru. The Nangta literally means the naked one. He referred to the Totapuriji. Totapuriji was a traditional Vedantic monk, and he used to wear just a loincloth and nothing else in the body, because the body's consciousness was not there. So that is the reason. Most of the traditional monks, they wear like that. So Sri Ramakrishna used to call him in that name. And he is referring to that, he is telling that he mentioned the one person who was having, in there, the Totapuriji belongs to a great a group of the monks. So that association, he referred that. One must be careful. Though he said that I have some occult power, but when he lost one of his supporters, immediately he became mad and very angry. And why it should be? Then what is the use of that occult power? That means you have not achieved anything. When you are angry, that means you have some unsatisfied desire. Anger comes from unsatisfaction of the desire. So whenever you are angry, if you go and quietly sit and analyze, what are the things that I wanted to get and I didn't get, so I became so angry. So naturally, when you are angry, when you are mad, that means you have no control over your senses. You had some desire, and that was not satisfied. The occult power should not be the goal of our spiritual practice. Again, the master went into an ecstatic mood. Strange thoughts seemed to stir his mind, and he remained speechless. After a while, he said, "Art thou come? I too am here." So, Master Mahasaya, who was recording, he said, who could pretend to understand these words? Why Sri Ramakrishna was telling like that? Who will pretend? Who will understand? Many of his devotees were in the room. Narendra, Girish, Ram, Haripada, Chuni, Balaram, all these names he is mentioning, and M. M is himself, who is the writer. Narendra did not believe that God could incarnate himself in a human body. So that was a thought it was going on at that time. Most of the educated people, they were losing faith in the traditional Hinduism because so many other thoughts were also crossing the society's mind, and people used to think in that way. So many things were going on. Narendra was very intelligent. He was 16, 17 years young man, and in that age he has read the Western philosophers like Spencer and others, and also some Indian philosophy. So, and we loved to discuss, and he was influenced by some of the, in those days, the thought, God is all pervading, and how can God take a human form? That is, some of the religion, they think in that way, but Hinduism always believed that. But young Narendra, at that time, he was not believing, and he said, but Girish differed with him. He had the burning faith that from time to time the Almighty Lord, through his inscrutable power, assumes a human body and descends to earth to serve a divine purpose. That is in the Bhagavad Gita, it is very clearly it is mentioned. But Narendra was young boy. We have to remember that Narendra was a young boy, and naturally whatever he read, whatever he heard, and then his own the presentation, and he was thinking, oh, I have understood it correctly. that God is all pervading, God is so big. How can God take a small human form? And human form means he is having so many other defects. The God cannot have the defects. So this type of arguments were there. So Girish Chandra Ghosh was elderly and he had this clear idea. Naren was not, but they were debating. Master said to Girish, Sri Ramakrishna, he was a very interesting, he was very eager to listen that they should discuss it in the English. He said, I should like to hear you and Narendra argue in English. In those days, in that, in particularly in India and in Bengal, of course, because that was the British capital, the then British capital of India, the Calcutta. So people, those who were educated, they used to speak in English. They loved to speak in English. Narendra knew English very well. Girish also knew. And Sri Ramakrishna himself were not knowing English, but he wanted to listen how they converse in English. And of course, Sri Ramakrishna, the God himself in human form, he knew that someday this young boy, the Narendra, will have to go somewhere outside this country and to speak in that English language. So he knew that, he didn't disclose, but he was asking them to. But the discussion began though, but they talked in Bengali, the local language. Narendra said, God is infinite. How it is possible for us to comprehend him? He dwells in every human being, but it is not that case. He manifests himself through one person only, Avatara. The Avatara, the God's manifestation as a human being. So this is the doubt. So Narendra is a philosophical doubts. So he was expressing that the God is residing in every soul, every heart. That is true. But the God cannot assume a particular body, human form or whatever, and to manifest over there. Sri Ramakrishna tenderly. He was discussing like that. This tenderly means, as because the young boy he is telling like that, Sri Ramakrishna is not harsh to say, hey, you're telling all the wrong thing. It is like this, it is like that. Not like that. Like a great teacher, he is encouraging him, at the same time trying to rectify. Tenderly he said, I quite agree with Narendra. God is everywhere. Then Sri Ramakrishna is adding, but then you must remember that there are different manifestations of his power in different beings. It is not he himself. See, this is the philosophy, and very carefully Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning this, because he knew this philosophy and the choosing of the word, and naturally it was so normal to him, he never made any mistake anywhere. So he is mentioning God has not manifested, God's power manifested. This is a great difference. Those who are following our classes and those who are students of Vedanta, you always know the God is consciousness, but consciousness is having a power that is known as Maya, and this Maya, the God's power, is completely doing all these things with which God has no association. That is the philosophy the Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. But then you must remember that there are different manifestations of his power in different beings. At some places there is a manifestation of his avidya shakti. Sri Ramakrishna using the word avidya means nescience, the wrong, false knowledge, the avidya shakti. At others a manifestation of his vidya shakti. Now vidya and avidya, good and bad. Vidya is good, avidya is bad. both belong to God's power. No confusion at all. Then sometimes when we are talking about the manifestation and the creation, there's some of the philosophers, they are confused. Philosophy means you have to give the answer. As I always say, of the three questions you have to answer: who is the creator? What is this creation? What is the relation between the creator and the creation? Now, there, the God is the creator and it is his creation. Then, when it comes to the last question, what is the relation between the creator and the creation? And many of the philosophers, they are different way they try to express. Why? God means good. How can he be bad? Then where from the bad came? There are so many bad things like the greed, like the delusion, like the pride, like the jealousy. So many things are there, bad things. Where from it came? The God is the only being. From it everything has come. He has created this world. Then where from the bad came? It was not there. No, but some people, they think about another personality that is called devil, and the devil has created this. It is all devil's power. Then the philosophical question comes, is there two entity, the God and devil? Then if you say yes, then God is not infinite. God is not all powerful. How can he be infinite? There is a space where he cannot go, where the devil is ruling. God cannot go there, so it is not infinite. You are not everywhere. No. There is some place you are not there. So you are finite to that extent. This is one. Second, the moment there is a conception of two, there will be collision. They collide. There will be war. And somebody will die. So where from then this conception that God is eternally living? It has no part. It is all pervading, all powerful. No, you cannot say like that. So these are the technical questions, philosophical questions, very subtle questions. And Sri Ramakrishna very easily he is solving by saying God's power manifesting. Yeah, God's power is manifesting. And have you not noticed, in some places his bad power manifesting more. So they are asuras, the bad people. And in some places his good power is manifesting. So they are the incarnations of God, like the Buddha, like the Jesus, like are the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shankaracharya. So good people, where from they got? So Sri Ramakrishna's beautiful answer, very simple but very clear. You must remember that there are different manifestations of the power in different beings. At some places there is a manifestation of his avidya, and other a manifestation of his vidya. Avidya means greed, delusion, pride, lobha, krodha, moha, etc. And vidya means love, clear understanding, unselfishness, and like that. The God power manifests in different degrees, greater and small. Therefore, all men are not equal. Narendra said that God is residing in every being. Then why the power is not same? All people should be same. Why not? Because the God's power, it is not God, it is God's power. And God's power is manifesting in different being, in different ratio. So some people are good or some people are bad. But again, among the good, there are very good people and some little good and something very bad, a little bad, like this. Then Ram means Ram Datta. He was a doctor. He was a great devotee of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. He suddenly said, what is the use of these futile arguments? Sri Ramakrishna sharply, no, there is a meaning in all this. So this is Hinduism. Hinduism always encourages questions, debate, so that your mind your understanding become very clear. So you must ask questions. So there are Prashna Upanishada. Prashna means the questions. The Kena Upanishada, they are constantly asking why, how. So the questions should be there. And through the questions only you can, and through the debate, you can understand the thing properly in a better way. If you hush it, no, whatever has been said you must follow, then that person who is actually trying to understand, his ideas are not clear, so he cannot grow properly in that spiritual life. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna immediately, very sharply said, Girish to Narendra, how do you know that God does not assume a human body? Then Narendra is mentioning, they are quoting from the scripture. Narendra is mentioning, God is beyond words or thoughts. In the Upanishad, it says, Abhag monasha gocharam. Abhag monasha gocharam. That means, the bhag means the speech, and the mona means thought, and the beyond the speech and thought. The God is so all-pervasive that you cannot give any definition, you cannot express God through word. And even in thought also, the completely you cannot comprehend. It is so vast, so big. The goddess Kali, is not wearing the cloth. Why? Because nowadays we are putting on the cloth and mother, but why it is? Because Hinduism is symbolic. The goddess Kali is all pervading. And if it is all pervading, the bigger than that a cloth, where from it will come? How to cover them? So that is the idea. It's a Abhang Manusya Gocharam. The master, the Narendra say, God is beyond words and thoughts. Sri Ramakrishna immediately rectifying him. No, that is not true. The God cannot be measured or expressed through words or even thought. Sri Ramakrishna immediately correcting. He is mentioning, he can be known by the pure buddhi. So this is Sri Ramakrishna, very clear. He can be known by the pure buddhi, which is the same as the pure self. Shuddha buddhi, Shuddha Atma Ek. In Bengali, he said, Shuddha means pure. Buddhi means intellect. And what is this intellect? As a Vedantin student, all of you know, when that consciousness, the pure consciousness, reflect in that individual mind, that particular part where it is reflecting is called buddhi. Buddhi means intellect. And from there the sense of I comes. I understand, I think, I say, I do. Where from this come? From the reflection of the consciousness. It is not real, only reflection. A room was dark and there was no light. Suddenly a sun ray entered from the window and it reflected in a mirror. The whole room became lighted. Is it that sun actually lighting the room? No. It's a reflection of the sun on that mirror, isn't it? So this is way we have to understand our mind becomes conscious, and how we can say that we are conscious? Because we say I, me, mine. So that way we are conscious. And what is this consciousness? Is it real? No. It's the reflection of the original consciousness. When that is completely pure, pure means there is no connection with the worldly objects, that particular mind can understand the pure self, which is God. The seers of the old directly perceive the pure self through their pure buddhi. Girish to Narendra. Unless God Himself teaches men through His human incarnation, who else will teach them spiritual mysteries? God takes a human body to teach men divine knowledge and divine love. Otherwise, who will teach? Girish is all the time is sticking to his point, the avatara. But Narendra, why? God dwells in our heart. He will certainly teach us from within the heart. It's like the young boy is mentioning that the God is within our heart. So from the heart only he will mention, like that he is mentioning. The Sri Ramakrishna again, because he has a great love for Narendra, and he knew that Narendra right this moment is not understanding. He will understand it. He will be a great Vedantin. So he will be a great world teacher afterwards. Right this moment he is trying to understand. It's okay. The Sri Ramakrishna tenderly. Yes, yes, he will teach us as our inner guide. As our inner guide. When we are trying to, we first go to a holy person, we accept him as Guru, then according to his words, according to his teaching, we try to develop our spiritual life, and we go on asking questions, we consult the spiritual books, and by that way slowly, when the more and more, the more we develop, then one day it comes, it becomes like this. That person who wanted the guidance of the Guru or the book or the scripture, he himself can understand, because from the inner self he feels the mind itself become his Guru. Again, the Sri Ramakrishna's original Bengali word, he said, Mon tomar Guru hoben. Your mind will become your Guru. You need not to go to outside again. All the time consulting with this man, that person. No, it is not necessary. You yourself will understand, this is the thing that I should do, those are the things I should not do, this should be followed, like that. The mind should be good. So when the Narendra didn't mention like this, but Sri Ramakrishna rectifying and supporting him. Gradually, Naren and Girish became involved in a heated discussion. If God is infinity, how can he have parts? What did Hamilton say? What were the views of the Herbert Spencer, of the Huxley, and so forth and so on? So all these philosophers, they were quoting Sri Ramakrishna, Master, to aim to the recorder. He said, I don't enjoy these discussions. So we have the habit, some of the people, the so-called intellectuals, they always try to quote some other intellectuals. But have they realized God, that they are talking about God? These also, friends, we have to understand. So we quote from this man, we quote from that man, he gave this lecture, he gave that lecture. Nothing wrong. If you are interested, read that. For the spiritual growth, one thing is necessary, that the person who is talking, giving you the instruction, have they realized truly God? Or otherwise, a very good the writer, he has the command over the language, and he is writing in such a beautiful way, the people read and think, oh, this is a great writing. It may be great, but those teachings, those words will never help you to develop spiritual life. The speakers also, sometimes they will mesmerize the thousands of people because of their capacity to speak. There are some people, they have that type of power, but not that they are spiritual teachers. Spiritual teachers are those who have already realized God. So Sri Ramakrishna, when they were quoting from different people, he understood that they are only trying to show their knowledge. He didn't like it. So he is telling, I don't enjoy these the discussions. Why should I argue at all? Now here, Sri Ramakrishna, we will conclude by reading this line. I clearly see that God is everything. He is concluding, we will conclude, he is going on. I clearly see that God is everything. That means realization. Afterwards, this young Narendra, who is now arguing, he said, religion is realization. Thank you, friends. We will continue from here in our next class. Let us see if there is any question.
So the first one is a comment, Maharaj, from Pranati. She is saying, life is very hard. Your education helps a lot to face it, gives us peace and strength. We are grateful for your guidance.
Thank you, Pranati, and pray to Mother that Mother's blessings be always with you.
The next question is from Mohit. He is saying, can you help us to understand a little more about the role of Maya that is tricking us every day in this world, and how to catch it or see it or practice so that we can understand it better?
So it is, Mohit, you are very correct. The role of Maya is so confusing all the time, and we are in that. So obviously it is difficult to understand, but they say the Maya has no beginning. I repeat, Maya has no beginning because it is the power of God. It is associated with God. Whenever the God was created, Maya was there. When God was created, nobody knows. It is eternal. But Maya has an end. God has no end. But God's power, this Maya, has an end. Why? Because it is going to cover the truth and superimpose something else on that truth. You know that. So obviously, if you can understand, oh, this is the truth, the cover is not true, immediately that vanishes. As an example, as we always say, that if you see in the mirage, in the desert, we see the water. We see even the ripples on the water. But so many, those who see that. Then you go near and you see, no, it is nothing, only dry sand. So what happened? The Maya vanishes, mirage vanishes. Who created that? Our ignorance. Who removed it? Our knowledge. So this is the only way we can go beyond Maya, through the knowledge. And what is that knowledge? Everything around that we see are very, very temporary. Right from the sun down to this earth, everything is temporary. Then why should we dedicate our life, our energy, our education, our mind, so for this temporary thing? We should go for something which is permanent, and that is God. The moment you take that oath and try, the Maya will immediately remove, open the path. Thank you.
The next question is from Devjani. She is asking, is the manifestation of the power of God dependent on the karma of that being only, so as good or evil?
That is correct, Devjani. Your question, that the manifestation of the power of God depends on the karma of that person. If it is a good karma, the manifestation of the Vidya Maya, the good Shakti, the good power, holy power, will manifest through that person. But if it is a bad karma, so obviously all the bad things that is there in Avidya Shakti of the God, that will manifest through that. It depends on karma phala. Is correct.
Srima is asking, how we escape ourselves that devil-like person if they are very close to us?
That is, the in practical questions, that sometimes some very bad people, they are so close to us, maybe among our friends, among our relatives. So it is difficult. But Seema, what I can feel, if you go on praying to the God, please, either you take away that person from me, or change his mind towards me. If you pray sincerely, that can happen. Then that we can solve that problem. So thank you very much. Thank you, friends. So let us chant this mantra and we conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishabataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.